Blake Lively's attorneys claim that Justin Baldoni and his team of lawyers are involved in amid their ongoing legal battles.
The Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni case is another one. She went to the press and tried to smear this man and ruin his existence.
This comes just days after Lively provided testimony in her deposition last Thursday
By claiming in so many words that he had sexually harassed her. And
the latest legal proceedings since she filed a sexual harassment complaint against Baldoni back in December.
She made him sound, with the help of the New York Times, like he was an absolute creep. And poor Blake Lively had to survive doing a movie with him.
Baldoni filed a $400 million countersuit against Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds, accusing them of extortion and defamation.
I might not be Team Justin, but I'm firmly not Team Blake Lively. I'm anti-Lively.
Blake is kind of the girl that as soon as there is one raindrop in the sky, she is running around the town saying the sky is falling. Everything is an attack.
Okay,
You're anti-Lively.
And I'm neutral on him, I guess.
Gotcha.
But definitely not her.
Everything is bullying. Everything is like, girl, there are real victims in the world and you're not one of them.
I feel like a lot of people feel the same way that you feel in this situation. Yeah.
I've met her.
Her and her husband, Ryan Reynolds. I think what makes me the most angry and the most disgusted.
She was... Oh my God, I've never actually told this story.
Oh,
I feel
tell
like
it.
her reps
You're page sixing yourself.
Is the way that she weaponizes Justin Baldoni's trauma and like...
Where I really just needed her to answer like one thing.
Right.
I had been told what question to ask her.
She just weaponizes it and uses it against him in the court documents and in her own amended complaint.
We just needed her to say something cute.
Right.
Like Lively, like who cares? Just tell me anything nice.
Now, Justin has been very vocal about his trauma, about being a victim himself, about being sexually assaulted.
And she said to me, "Did you even see Age of Adeline?"
On August 8th, 2025, what was expected to be just another day in the long-running legal battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni turned into one of the most decisive moments yet. Inside a federal courtroom in New York, Judge Louis J. Liman delivered a ruling so direct and scathing that it sent shockwaves through both legal circles and Hollywood gossip columns. He sided squarely with Blake Lively, granting her motion to strike a nearly 300-page deposition transcript from the public record, a transcript that had been quietly uploaded by Baldoni's legal team just days earlier. But it wasn't simply removed for technical reasons. Judge Lyman's written order left no doubt about how he viewed the move. He called it a filing with no proper litigation purpose, accusing Baldoni's camp of using the court as a stage to invite public speculation and scandal. His language was unusually sharp for a federal ruling, clearly signaling that in his view, this wasn't just a harmless oversight or standard legal maneuver. It was a calculated act meant to burden Lively and sway public opinion before the actual trial. Courtroom observers noted the almost palpable tension in the air as the ruling was read aloud. The transcript in question, a detailed account of a deposition held just the week before, had been filled with sensitive exchanges, personal allegations, and off-topic details that, according to the judge, were gratuitous and irrelevant to the actual claims at hand. This wasn't simply about striking words from a legal record. It was about calling out a perceived abuse of the system, and in doing so, the judge had effectively flipped the momentum of the case, giving Lively one of her biggest wins so far. The controversy over the deposition didn't come out of nowhere. Just a week before Judge Lyman's ruling, Blake Lively had endured hours of questioning from Justin Baldoni's attorneys in a tense New York conference room. The deposition, intended to gather sworn testimony for the upcoming trial, zeroed in on the most sensitive parts of her lawsuit: her allegations of harassment on the set of It Ends With Us, and claims that Baldoni orchestrated a deliberate smear campaign to damage her reputation. But rather than sticking to points relevant to the case, her legal team says Baldoni's side pushed the limits, asking off-topic and personal questions that seemed designed to provoke and embarrass rather than clarify facts. Normally, such transcripts remain a private tool for lawyers to prepare their arguments, but in this instance, Baldoni's team filed the entire 292-page document with the court, making it instantly accessible to the public. That move, rare and highly unusual, raised eyebrows even before the judge weighed in. Lively's attorneys argued there was no valid legal reason to submit the full transcript, especially so close to an important phase in the case. Instead, they believed the goal was clear: to arm tabloids and gossip sites with sensational material, hoping to turn public opinion against Lively before the trial even began. And the timing wasn't lost on anyone. The filing hit the docket during a period of heightened attention around both Lively and Baldoni, coinciding with renewed media coverage of It Ends With Us. For her camp, it looked less like a legal strategy and more like a PR weapon disguised as a court filing. But, as the judge's ruling soon confirmed, this wasn't just speculation. It was a maneuver the court found entirely unjustified. The moment the deposition transcript hit the public docket, Blake Lively's legal team moved with surgical precision. They filed an emergency motion to have it removed, arguing that the only possible purpose behind making it public was to feed a carefully engineered tabloid storm. In their filings, they accused Baldoni's camp not only of weaponizing the court system, but of going even further, allegedly leaking specific, almost trivial details from the deposition to gossip outlets. Reports began surfacing that certain entertainment sites had already been tipped off about what Lively wore that day, who accompanied her into the building, and even snippets of offhand comments made during breaks. For her lawyers, this was proof that the intention was never about advancing the case, but about painting Lively in a certain light before the eyes of the public. And this wasn't an isolated concern. Her team pointed out that this was just the latest in what they saw as a pattern of media manipulation by Baldoni's side, a strategy they believed had been running quietly in the background for months. The idea was simple but ruthless. Use selective leaks and public filings to shift the conversation from the actual legal claims to Lively's credibility and personal image. In their view, the deposition stunt wasn't just an overstep, it was part of a larger campaign to break her down publicly before she ever got her day in court. The judge's decision to grant their motion wasn't just a procedural victory, it was validation that the court saw the same problem they did. And with this legal win under her belt, Lively had not only neutralized Baldoni's move, but turned it into yet another piece of evidence in her claim that he was playing the public relations game as much as the legal one. From the very beginning, Justin Baldoni has forcefully denied every accusation Blake Lively has leveled against him, describing her claims as false, harmful, and driven by ulterior motives. In his public statements and legal filings, he's painted himself as the target of an unfounded attack that has jeopardized his reputation, his career, and his personal life. But despite his confident tone, the tide in the courtroom hasn't been moving in his favor. Just 2 months earlier, in June 2025, Baldoni suffered a significant blow when his countersuit against Lively and her husband, actor Ryan Reynolds, was dismissed outright. That case, which accused the couple of defamation and intentional interference with his business relationships, never made it past the early legal hurdles, leaving him with nothing to show for months of preparation. For Baldoni, losing that countersuit stripped him of one of his most aggressive legal weapons. And now, with Judge Liman's latest ruling, he's lost yet another high-profile skirmish. The optics are hard to ignore. In less than 60 days, he's been handed 2 public defeats, each reinforcing the image that Lively's side is holding the stronger legal position. Even his attempt to frame the deposition's release as a routine filing didn't convince the court, with the judge making it clear that the move lacked any legitimate purpose. For an actor and director used to carefully controlling the narrative in his work, these legal setbacks have created a storyline he can't rewrite, one where his strategies keep getting rejected and his opponent keeps racking up wins. With the trial still months away, the question hanging over Hollywood is whether Baldoni's legal footing will recover, or if these early losses are the start of a much bigger unraveling. With Judge Liman's ruling now on the books and Baldoni's countersuit already tossed aside, the focus is shifting to the next major chapter, the full trial set for March 2026. And make no mistake, this won't be a quiet, backroom legal proceeding. This is shaping up to be one of the most closely watched celebrity trials in recent memory, the kind of case that blends courtroom strategy with the high drama of Hollywood's biggest scandals. For Blake Lively, the trial is about more than just damages or vindication. It's about defending her name and locking in a legal record that supports her claims. For Justin Baldoni, it's about fighting to salvage both his public image and his standing in an industry where reputation can be everything. The stakes aren't just personal, they could also be financial and professional, with potential ripple effects on future projects, brand partnerships, and industry relationships for both stars. And if the pretrial maneuvers are any indication, the months leading up to March will be filled with new filings, strategic leaks, and last-minute motions aimed at shaping the battlefield before a single witness is called. Legal analysts say we should expect more aggressive evidence battles, possibly even new witnesses stepping forward as the trial date nears. The way both sides have been fighting for control of the narrative suggests that when the trial finally begins, the proceedings will be as much about swaying the court of public opinion as they are about persuading the jury. Hollywood thrives on spectacle, and this trial has all the elements. 2 big names, deeply personal accusations, a history of public jabs, and a legal history already marked by sharp judicial rebukes. And while March might seem far away, every week between now and then offers an opportunity for the story to take a turn no one saw coming. In an industry built on image, timing, and carefully managed narratives, the Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni case has become the perfect storm, a collision of personal accusations, professional rivalries, and public relations warfare. It's not just that these are 2 recognizable faces from the same high-profile film, It Ends With Us. It's the fact that their on-screen chemistry has been replaced by a bitter legal feud playing out in front of millions. Hollywood has always had its share of celebrity lawsuits, but rarely do they involve such pointed claims of behind-the-scenes misconduct mixed with accusations of calculated media manipulation. Add to that the fact that both stars have cultivated very different public personas, Lively as the polished, charismatic A-lister with a clean image, and Baldoni as the thoughtful, socially conscious filmmaker. And you have a narrative that's impossible for the industry to ignore. Insiders say this case has become a frequent topic at studio meetings, award show after parties, and agency lunches, with people quietly speculating about what the trial could reveal and which side might come out on top. There's also the unspoken question of collateral damage. Who in the industry might get caught up if previously unknown details surface during testimony? As one veteran producer put it, everyone wants to know what's in the sealed documents, but no one wants to be named in them. The case's combination of legal drama and celebrity intrigue has made it a magnet for coverage, with gossip sites, trade publications, and even mainstream news outlets following every twist. And because both sides seem equally willing to play the media game, albeit in very different ways, the public is getting a front-row seat to one of the most high-stakes image battles Hollywood has seen in years. The judge's decision to side with Blake Lively didn't just ripple through the legal system, it sent shockwaves across social media, entertainment newsrooms, and Hollywood's tight-knit inner circles. Within hours of the ruling, hashtags like #SureBlakeWins and Baldoni Backfire began trending, as fans and commentators dissected every line of Judge Liman's scathing order. Supporters of Lively praised her for standing her ground against what they viewed as an attempt to publicly humiliate her, calling the ruling proof that she was being unfairly targeted. Others, however, cautioned that the full truth wouldn't come out until trial, pointing to Baldoni's continued denials and suggesting that the legal maneuvering was simply part of the process. Behind the scenes, though, the whispers have been far more pointed. Industry insiders are reportedly weighing the optics of associating with either star before the trial concludes, with some quietly putting potential collaborations on hold until the dust settles. One unnamed studio executive told an industry blog that no one wants to be on the wrong side of this when the verdict comes down, hinting at the risk of reputational fallout. Even agents and publicists, usually masters at spinning a narrative, are said to be watching closely for signs that one side's public standing might collapse before March 2026. The ruling has also sparked a broader conversation within Hollywood about the ethics of using court filings as a tool for media influence. A tactic some believe could backfire more often if judges continue taking such a hard stance. For now, the public remains divided, the industry remains cautious, and both stars are under more scrutiny than ever before. And with each new headline, the anticipation for what might be revealed at trial only grows stronger. With Judge Liman's ruling, Blake Lively has scored one of her most decisive victories yet, stripping Justin Baldoni of a move that appeared designed to drag their legal battle out of the courtroom and into the headlines. In doing so, the judge not only shifted the momentum of the case, but also sent a message that the courts won't tolerate filings meant to inflame public opinion rather than advance justice. But as significant as this win may be, it's still just one battle in a much larger war. a war that's set to play out in full view when the trial begins in March 2026. Between now and then, both sides have months to prepare their evidence, sharpen their strategies, and, inevitably, maneuver for control of the public narrative. If the pretrial skirmishes are any indication, the trial itself could be explosive, with revelations that reach far beyond what's already been hinted at in court documents. For Hollywood, this isn't just a legal fight, it's a story about image, power, and how far people will go to protect or destroy a reputation. For the public, it's a rare look at the unpolished side of the industry where scripts can't be rewritten and the stakes are as real as they get. And for Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, it's the defining moment in a feud that has already reshaped how both are seen. The only certainty now is that when the gavel falls next spring, the verdict won't just close a case, it could rewrite careers, alliances, and the way Hollywood handles its most damaging disputes.